Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Flerick.
and this is Mac.
And
this
this
is
is
Kif.
the... Oh, yep. There.
Yay, Kiff.
I guess if we're doing that, that's Teddy.
Teddy, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Where's
Teddy,
Renly?
The two cats of the
No,
podcast.
Where's Renly?
we
just
got
hanging out in the
50% cat participation rate. That's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, we're pretty good. So this is the Midway episode for the Kyushu Bansuke. We've got 1 week in the book, and I think it's been a pretty dang good week of sumo. So I hope everybody is still bundled up and watching that cozy sumo, because I think it's been there. I think it's been nice and cozy basho so far.
I think that's a good way to describe it, because like I was just looking through my notes. There haven't been like a huge number of crazy highlights. It's just kind of been like, yeah, cozy. It's fine, but nothing's blowing me away.
Yeah.
Nothing's super unexpected.
The
Yeah,
the
I don't know.
storylines at the top.
Yeah, I was gonna say
really good.
I compared this to a stew like earlier in our group chat, and it definitely is simmering. It's simmering to like a great, delicious
Yes.
thing towards the end.
Nothing super crazy. Nothing like, real spicy or exotic. But it's like, yeah, it's good. It's cozy.
Yeah,
That's kind of my
so-
feeling, at least.
And it's gonna just be amazingly delicious at the end.
I think
One can only hope.
if things trend the way they are trending, it'll be a very exciting finish. So we are through day 8 of the Kyushu Basho. So if you have not watched through day 8, pause the podcast, watch through day 8. Welcome back. How did you enjoy the first 8 days of the podcast?
That wasn't long enough.
Well, they paused it, Mac. It was as long as it needed to be.
You can pause podcasts once you start them.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's,
right.
Ryan,
it's new
no.
technology. I think
This
Apple
is gonna
Podcast
change
my-
recently
my
released
whole
that
life.
feature.
I'm
That's gonna be
normally
so much more
doing
convenient.
something. Yeah, I'm normally doing something completely different, so I cannot stop.
Nope. No brakes on this train.
Hey,
Yeah.
speaking of something completely different, we did get an idea from one of our listeners on how to. Honestly, I think this would like entirely eliminate almost all injuries in sumo, and I think that'd be super helpful. So our friend on Instagram, WG Franklin, they sent us this idea of first off, before you implement this whole plan, you got to reinforce the roof that hangs over the dohyo, because to that roof we are going to be anchoring cables that all
Or
the
a steel
rikshi are
cage.
suspended from.
Okay.
I
We're
like
talking
it.
we're talking like crouching tiger, hidden wedgie.
I can see it.
Wire fighting. Then you can't really fall off the dohyo if you're
Sure.
if you're suspended by wires. And I
You
think
could
that
even
this
raise
would-
it. You can
You
make it
could
taller.
even raise the dohyo. Yeah.
See, then all I get is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome vibes, where they're just suspended from the top there, just bouncing around. As long as they stay within the Tawara, they're okay. And
Yeah, by a massive margin, the worst Mad Max movie and still the 4th best movie ever. So pretty
I-
good.
that doesn't seem like it would make sense. I mean, the wire would get in the way and probably throw off like the bounce of the rickshaw. I can't get behind this idea. I don't know why you think this would be a good idea.
We can agree to disagree, but I think it would be much safer if instead we turned it into like wushu movie fire or wire fighting.
Clearly, a steel
matches
cage
that-
or a ball pit is the correct answer.
With matches that never end, because
Yes.
how can they touch the ground?
no,
well,
yes.
Yeah, so Takayasu's going to excel.
Yeah.
Another obvious reason that I am in the camp of this idea.
All right. Before we start talking about more details about what actually happened in the first week and less details about ways to make the sport safer, all logical and legitimate ways to make the sport safer.
I just thought of something. What if we get like
Ooh.
5 in a row, and like that ball thing where you hit one side and it bounces through, and the
Ooh,
other
a
side.
Newton's cradle.
Yeah, Newton's cradle. Well, we could probably get that
Nice.
going if the Richie suspended too. Maybe
Yeah,
that'll
we
be
need
the new
to we need
dohyo
to learn
Uri.
like what kind of constant of elasticity you get in a 400-pound Japanese man.
Well, this is the podcast to figure it out.
Honestly,
Physics.
if anyone's gonna figure it out, we are definitely near the top of that list.
Yes.
All right. Let's give away some compliments to our patrons. As we said on the preview episode, we're just going to kind of lump a bunch of people together, give them a compliment, unless we get new patrons. And since the preview episode, we have gotten 3 new patrons.
These jerks
Yay!
just keep trying to give us money and make our compliment game that much more complicated.
Yes.
We blame you.
Enough's
so-
enough already, please. But but for this episode, Michael Chung, are you a beaver? Because damn.
Damn.
When one chooses to walk the way of Jen's Tho, you are both listener and influencer. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Yep.
Was that Mandalorian thing?
That was Mandalorian, yes.
Okay.
My first guess was Dune before I was quickly shot down, and then I'm like, oh no,
Ryan,
wait,
no.
Mandalorian.
We
I've
kicked
watched
Ryan off
both
of
of
our
those things.
we have
Yeah.
because of that kicked Ryan off our supplemental podcast, Grand Space Opera Breakdown.
Yes.
That's okay. You guys have that to nerd out over. I've got my Pokemon quiz towards the end where
Oh.
my brand of nerdity will shine through.
I
we
said it
go.
as a joke, but I'm actually going to write I got to write that down before we forget about
Yeah,
Grand
that's what I
Space Opera Breakdown. Sorry, continue.
All right. Andrew and Adrian Huntington. Your smiles are proof that the best things in life are free.
All right. So
Aw.
thank you, Michael, Jens, Andrew, and Adrian, our 3 new patrons. And for a large group of our existing patrons, including King of Salt, Rob Graham, Giuseppe Salico, Octavian Martin, Caroline, Trent E., Jorge Lamarca, Rob Shields, Rhiannon McLean, Cole Brumley, John Gunning, and Emo Dingo. In a world full of bagels, you are all donuts. Except for John Gunning. He's a donut in the best way. Jake's new favorite insult for people
You
is
donut.
calling them donuts.
Donut.
And so John Gunning is that kind of donut. Everybody else is the delicious, good kind of donut.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, I feel like
Oh,
that's perfectly
man.
clear.
All right. And so we were very angry with our field correspondent B. He did not get a recap for the Akiba show in time for our preview episode after we did not tell him that we were going to be recording early. That's a failure on his part for not anticipating our needs. So B,
Come
you
on,
got to
B.
step it up.
Yep.
In an attempt to step it up, it is a first time week 1 recap from B. So B, go ahead and take it away.
Hey guys, B here with your Midway Kyushu review shoe. Well, halfway done, and we certainly aren't lacking for excitement. With the actual cup race maybe a little narrow, there's still plenty of other stuff going on. Like Back in Black Abi. It looks like they're doing the same thing with him that they did with Teru and having him tear up the bottom ranks. I'm not sure if this is some sort of false finish or nothing cup winner, but they really are making him look strong in his re-debut. And speaking of looking strong in nothing cups, what's gotten into Tamawashi? Homie's work rate's gone from mid-card to main eventer suddenly, and it looks like they swapped out that arm breaker for a strong arm finisher. I've always sort of lamented the nothing cup winners, but if there's any way to use them, it's definitely like this. A potential threat with the reminder that technically they did win a Yusho. I mean, look at Daisho. That's what they did with him last tournament with that Himboshi, and then this tournament they put together this huge, oh, maybe he'll do it again moment before Teru took the finish. And I'm pretty pleased with it when it gets a pop. But speaking of pops, they definitely overdid it with Takayasu. The 3 Broadways in a row, and then on the 4th one, the crowd just dies. You never want to get that obligatory smattering of applause as they lose interest. I expected a beach ball to show up on hard cam well into that 2nd, 3rd minute. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Let's see how this thing shakes out. Oh, and I'm sorry I missed the recap last tournament. I forgot the U.S. has daylight savings time. It's weird that you guys fall back a whole week now, but hey, live and learn. Talk to you guys later.
It's very complicated with the time changeover. It's hard to figure out.
And he's endearing. He tries. He just. He flip flops. Why do you do this to us, B? Why?
I don't know. I might pay him $1 for the Kyushu review shoe.
Some of
He
his
might
best
have
work for
earned
sure.
some money for the first time in his career.
So I mean, you go
Yeah.
from like okay to God damn, you're good.
Yeah, that's a $1 pun right there.
Yeah, right there.
That's why we continue to hire him as an unpaid intern. That's right.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, and with that $1, I am officially buying that term. So we will continue on with the Midway Kyushu review shoe as we talk about the Yusho storyline.
That's a great name you figured out there, Ryan.
Thank you. Well done, Ryan. All on my own.
Yes.
Our co-leaders tied with a perfect 8-0 record are Yokozuna Teruno Fuji and Ozeki Takakesha. Let's talk about Teruno Fuji a little bit first. He made it through the first week completely unscathed. We had asked the question on the preview episode, was he going to make it through the first week unscathed? This is the fourth straight basho that he has not dropped a match in the first week of the tournament. We saw he had Daisho, Takanosho, Onosho, people that he's kind of been struggling with a little bit in the past. He made it through all of them. A couple of close calls, especially that Daisho match. But he made it through with no issue at all. And then once he got to the older guys, the 30-plus fellas, it just pulled them all over. So, Mac, what are your overall thoughts on Teruno Fuji in the first week of Kyushu?
Honestly, this is what I was expecting from him. I mean, he's still, again, he's coming into his own as the sole Yokozuna. He's still adapting his style. He's still showing definitely that power and that resiliency, definitely keeping us on the edge of our seats with a few of his matches. Like we were saying, the Daisho match, the Onosho, the Takanosho matches. Like, it's not, again, his style isn't perfect, but he's getting better with it and he's reacting. He's not giving up. He's not, again, I'm loving what we're seeing from him.
Anybody else got any big thoughts on Mr. Teruno Fuji?
Yeah, his defense is just really good. And there's a lot of positions where it's just a winning position for him because he's just so big and strong. It's amazing. Like, the one we got to talk about the day 2 match, I think, against Daisho.
Yeah.
Where he was essentially coming out off and like, I think he just kind of somehow picked him up and like twisted like right at the edge or something. I forget the exact details, but I just remember watching that and going, wow, that was an impressive win. Like, that should have been lost.
Dead to rights like 3 times. Yeah.
Like Teruno Fuji was on one leg, seemingly just defying physics and being able to stave off being pushed out. And then he just is able to set his feet and from a poor position, really just throw Daisho heartily onto his back. Just the power of him is so impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, it was kind of like shades of like Hakuho, less in the sense of like the way like he threw him, but more so in the sense of just coming back somehow, like right at the end where you think he's like lost, he somehow was able to win it out. So it's kind of like Yokozuna spark that you kind of expect. And I was like, yeah, Teruno Fuji got this.
Yeah. One of the, I wanted to go back and watch this one this morning, but it looks like we're running into the issue that hasn't been an issue for a little while, but we're getting hit on YouTube again. Yeah. And we've lost a couple days of videos here and there. So far, we've been able to, the network out there has been able to make it work regardless. But if it looks like everything before day 5 has been kind of scrubbed from a couple different spots. So yeah, hopefully we don't have to deal with that as the basho goes on. It would suck to have to deal with a mid basho breakdown of our our YouTube content here.
Yeah, and I think Kitama Yama always has his available if you need a backup source. But
thank you, Sensei.
He's included in that.
Oh, really?
They're back up.
Oh,
I'm looking at day 1 through 8 right now.
I got all the way back to 3 for him.
Click the videos
must be
tab.
looking in the wrong spot. Yeah. But yeah, either way, it's something we haven't had to deal with in a couple basho at least, and I'm worried that it's going to become more of an issue again.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it just comes and goes. Like they're like, hey, quit that, and a couple videos will get taken down, or we'll have it one basho that's kind of tough, and then the next basho, like we're fine again. So
yeah, who knows?
Well, now that I can view this one, Flaric, I'm just going to do this for the rest of our recording.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the other co-leader, that being Takakesha, and this is the Takakesha that we kind of fell in love with. This is tied for the best start in his career, an 8-0 start. And the last time he had an 8-0 start, he went 13-2 and beat Teruno Fuji in a playoff for the Yusho, which that exact storyline is very much in play at this point. So, Jake, we have 2 8-0 Rikishi, both doing it a little bit differently. Teruno Fuji, a little bit more defensive, at least the first 4 or 5 days. Takakesha has just been bowling everybody over, with the exception of today. We'll talk more about that later. But, Jake, has Takakesha been the most dominant Rikishi in the basho so far?
I kind of wish that we discussed this yesterday when we wrote this on the outline, because it would have been an easy question to answer. But yeah, today, Takakesha versus Ichinojo. We can talk about that specific match in a little bit here, but yeah, in general, Takakesha has looked like $1,000,000 up until today with his first real struggle, and even for the first the opening act of today's match, he still looked dominant. How many guys can just like run into Ichinojo and move him? That
And force Ichinojo to pull your hair so that you can't
yeah.
get proper leverage to keep pushing him out.
But
We're gonna talk
regardless,
about that later.
but regardless, he has looked incredibly dominant so far. And it's hard to say. Like, I would still probably pick Teruno Fuji if I was picking at this point in the tournament. But like, looking at the individual matches, Teruno Fuji has had a lot more adversity that he's had to go through. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that in this first week, Takakesha has been the most dominant, but it's also hard to deny that it feels like kind of a momentum swing going the other way the last day or few.
Mm-hmm. And Flair, do you kind of feel the same way? Who's impressed you more this Basho? Is it Teruno Fuji and his incredible defense, or is it Takakesha with his straightforward sumo and just enforcing his will upon his opponents? Forcing his hair to get tangled in his opponent's fingers.
I was actually going to say like that, like of the two, like just kind of by themselves, I would probably normally lean towards Teruno Fuji because that defense is just so impressive. And Takakesha mostly just baffles me how he wins matches. I guess he just pushes better than other people or pulls. But once again, after today, the way he creates some luck to get his hair pulled and win that match on day 8, like that's very impressive in himself.
We'll get into that match later. We'll talk more later. Okay. But I do want to shout out Takakesha versus, I believe it was Kiribayama, when he just slapped him in the back and threw him down. That was probably his best moment of the tournament. Teruno Fuji's best moment was his throw against Daisho. Takakesha so far just incredible slap down of Kiribayama.
Yeah, he doesn't look it, but he's just so strong.
Yeah, exactly. It looked almost like a WWE move or something where they're both in on it, right? He just kind of like swung his big old bear paw on that tiny little T-Rex arm and just sent another grown man flying. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I will say I'm very happy to see Takakesha in form because he was kind of the big question mark coming into this, but he's been looking great, and like he's also leading with his head on the Tachi still. So I'm guessing like he's either fearless about like neck issues or it's just no longer an issue. So I'm just loving what I'm seeing so far from the guy.
All right, let's talk about a couple of the Rikishi that are just one win behind our leaders. And the first one is going to be Sekiwake Mitakeyumi. So we always talk about, he's looked good. He's looked really good. Obviously, he's 7-1. We always talk about a week 2 slide for Mitakeyumi. But typically, if he starts 7-1, he does pretty good in the tournament. So this is the 4th time in his Makuuchi career that he has started 7-1. 2 times have resulted in a 13-2 Yusho, and then an 11-4 tournament with a special prize. And another one did end in Mitakeyumi, 8-7 week 2 slide. So
it does happen.
It goes either way, but I think typically with a 7-1 start, I think we can expect probably double-digit wins for Mitakeyumi here. But Mac, is it wrong for us to get our hopes up for Mitakeyumi in week 2? We've been burnt before.
Yeah, that's what frightens me with this one. Is yes, historically we've been burned and we've been burned bad, but so far I can't say no. I love what he's been displaying. He's got good sumo. He's pulled out multiple techniques. He's hanging with his opponents. It doesn't look like he's letting up any of the pressure. I will be surprised if he does crap the bed, but at least at this point, I can't see it. With what he's been displaying, I think he can hang with him.
Yeah, I think the match to look out for him is going to be against Takakesha.
Yes.
Especially after watching Takakesha struggle with like some bigger people. Like I think Mitakeyumi is going to be a equal challenge in that regard. So it'll be interesting how that goes.
Let's go around the horn real quick and just predict number of wins for Mitakeyumi this tournament. So I'll start, and I think I'm going to put the number at 11. I think that would be good, solid number. 4-3 in the second week. That allows losses to Takakesha, Teruno Fuji, probably some.
Toss something else in there. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
exactly. So I think 11 wins and kind of get everybody's Ozeki dreams a little bit more alive, just to be
An
absolutely
ember,
shut
just
down
a little
in
tiny ember.
January. Oh yeah, I mean he'll get 7 or 8 and 6 and 9 in January and just shut all that down. But this is the pattern: build us up to let us down. Flair, what do you think? How many wins for Mitake Yumi?
I think you're entirely right. 11 sounds good. 11-4. You
right.
lose like maybe 3 more matches in the back half.
All right, what about you, Mac?
I got to go with 11-4 as well.
All right, Jake, are you gonna be different, or are you gonna be a coward and take the 11-4 ways out?
I was gonna be a coward if I had gone second or so.
Coward,
but-
coward.
No, I'm gonna be more optimistic. I think that I think that he could probably get 12 wins. I don't see him beating Takakesha or Teruno Fuji unless something else changes. Because yeah, Mitake Yumi's been looking great, but he hasn't been looking great at the same level as those other guys, obviously.
Right.
So, but I am still optimistic. I like him. He's clearly found a rock to sun himself on to make up for the fact that it's winter right now. Yeah, I'm optimistic. Let's say 12 for me.
All right. And then our other Rikishi at 7-1 is Maegashira 15 Abi. And he's doing just exactly what we expected he would do at the bottom of the Bansuke, just running over all of those guys down there, with the exception of Hokuto Fuji. I think Takakesha Teruno Fuji, lucky that Hokuto Fuji isn't up at the top, or else they would have a loss apiece. That's just obvious to me. But yeah, besides the buzzsaw that is Hokuto Fuji, Abi's just rolling through everybody. So Jake,
he's got a bit bigger of a belly. Have you
He
noticed that?
does.
Yeah.
there was one match, I think it was yesterday's match, where he's got a bit of the double chin, not quite Chiyomaru levels, but it's getting there.
Ooh.
And he just looks like a bullfrog now. Just like look at him straight on. Abi's 100% a bullfrog. I just need to find a way to get a pun with the name Abi and like bullfrog or frog or toad.
Was he one of the tadpoles like way back in the day?
No.
Was that other people?
That was
Okay.
like Onosho, Mitake Yumi, Takakesho, I think were the main ones.
That sounds
Maybe
about
Hokuto
right.
Fuji, but
I think Hokuto
Mm.
Fuji was generally in that group, but yeah,
Okay.
that generation that kind of made their top division debuts in like 2016, 17-ish.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that would be a fun metaphor for him to finally go from tadpole to frog.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Complete your transformation.
Yeah.
So, Jake, who do you think is the biggest threat to Teruno Fuji and Takakesho to kind of sneak in and take the Yusho? Is it Mitake Yumi, or is it Abi just continuing to clean up at the bottom?
I think Abi will probably do I don't think that he's going to slow down too hard in the second week, but I definitely think like the last 3-4 days, if he's actually in Yusho contention and they give him those top of the division matchups that he hasn't faced in like a year, then I don't see him as nearly as big a threat as Mitake Yumi, who has a career winning record against Takakesho. Not by much, but a little bit.
But still.
Mhm.
And he is at 3-11 against Teruno Fuji, which is like, I mean, that's not the most one-sided matchup we've ever seen, right? That's honestly pretty good against Teruno Fuji.
Asanoyama 0-5. Hopefully someday we get to see that matchup again, but
Yeah.
it's better than that.
But regardless, I think that Mitake Yumi, especially the fact that he's been there before, he can handle the pressure. He doesn't always, but he can.
Yeah.
I think he's the much bigger threat, and I think that in my mind he's there's a wide gulf between number 3 and number 4 in this Yusho race, and he's the number 3.
Okay. Does then everybody agree with that? Everybody think Mitake Yumi is the bigger threat to Takakesho and Teruno Fuji, or do you guys think that Abi can kind of sneak in there, keep coasting? He's got a match against Maegashira 10 Chiyotairyu tomorrow, whereas Teruno Fuji has to face Takayasu and Takakesho has to face Hoshuryu, which, I mean, both Maegashira 5's not the toughest of competition, but then obviously Teruno Fuji and Takakesho will start rounding out with the Sanyaku ranks, and Mitake Yumi will have to clear out those Sanyaku ranks as well. So do you guys think Abi could be a bigger threat here?
No, I would say no, because it's because we've seen it more recently with any of the guys from the bottom rank, as they have been doing well, they start, okay, well, let's ramp up their competition just a little bit more. I think if Abi wins tomorrow, that's what we're going to start seeing into the last few days of the tournament. It's like, well, he's not going to start facing the other M12s, M13s, maybe an M11. Now he's going to jump up to an M5 or an M4 as his opponent. So I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I definitely think Mitakeumi in the classical sense probably has a better chance, but there is chances of like Bonsuke like matches, like magic to happen for Abi. Like if he only gets one or two like up above, maybe he like wins both of them somehow. I think there might be a chance of Yusho because like and like his strength of schedule is so much weaker than the people at the top. So he just has to worry about those however many matches he gets up at the top.
Yeah, my hope is Abi does well enough to force like a match against Takakesha on day like 13, 14, something like that. I would love to see Abi versus
You get destroyed
Takakesha again.
I can see a Shodai matchup.
Ooh,
Looking at
that'd be
Shodai right
good.
now. That feels likely to me, but
I know
We'll
Zeki,
see.
who's not necessarily in the running, might
But
get
just to test his level.
might
Mhm.
get called upon to shut down a Maegashira making a run.
All right, so I did look up the matchup history between Abi and Takakesha. It is split 2-2, so could be interesting to see if they match up against each other. All right, but in addition to these 4 front runners, we have 4 additional Rikishi that are only 2 matches behind the leader. And as we all saw with Takayasu when he had a 2-match lead on day 8 earlier this year, the people that are 6-2 can still get in and win the tournament. I'm not going to apologize, Jake. I honestly feel
I'm
pretty
not
good about
expecting you
myself.
to. It doesn't mean I don't want you to.
But the Rikishi that are sitting at 6-2, we have Maegashira 6 Tamawashi. We have Maegashira 7 Ura, who does not believe in the Tachiai anymore.
Nope.
We have Maegashira 12 Hokuto Fuji, and we have Maegashira 16 Sada no Umi. So Mac, which of the Rikishi with 6 wins do you think will have the best chance to finish with 11 plus wins, or just basically continue to have a good week 2 and have a really good basho? And who do you think will fade in week 2?
So for this one, for 11 plus wins, or at least get close to that mark, I got to go with Hokuto Fuji. His Oshi Sumo is strong. Again, one of the things that we have loved about Hokuto Fuji is how intense all of his matches are. He gives it everything he's got. I mean, he's fighting the lower Maegashira at this point. I think with his strength of schedule at this, he's got this. We know he's an upper level ranked Maegashira when he's healthy and when he's on. So I think this is going to be a return for him. I definitely can see 11 plus wins out of this guy. As to fading, I gotta go with Tamawashi on this one. Though his Oshi Sumo has been strong, to me, that's one-dimensional. He's not displaying any really good ring sense, in my opinion, and his 2 losses were to an Ashitori and a Keikaishi. So to me, again, his Oshi is strong, but I don't think he's going to be able to continue on into the second week.
All right. Plus, he's 37 years old. So, I mean,
I was going to avoid that. That was low-hanging fruit. I didn't want to do that.
he's
One
got to be
foot in
getting
the grave.
tired. Yeah.
37, that's ancient.
I didn't want to do that.
Fleric with the uncomfortable laugh as he is the closest to 37 in this group.
Only by a few months.
Yeah. It's
All
going to
right.
be fun in the next
37
coming years
people
as
could do
people
sumo
are
too.
yeah, people younger than us are going to start retiring and it's going to be really weird and uncomfortable.
Yes.
People younger than us already have retired. I think Koto Yuki was younger than us.
Oh,
That's a good
no.
point. I think he was.
All right, let's take a look at the rest of the Sanyaku. I mean, Shodai's there. He's doing Shodai things. He's 5-3. I don't have really much to say about Shodai. Does anybody have any special thoughts? To me, it's just been the same Shodai we've seen for the past few basho. He'll be 8-7, 9-6, and
That's fine.
It's flashes in the
That's all
pan.
that's asked
I mean,
of him.
he's got good streaks and then bad streaks. And this is Shodai doing Shodai things.
Getting
Yep.
Kachikoshis regularly as an Ozeki is, that's top of the line. That's effectively a Hall of Fame, right? If you make Yokozuna Ozeki, it's kind of a built-in bar that I would consider like, all time, not all time, but like, a great, somebody that would be effectively in the Hall of Fame kind of a deal.
Mm.
He seems
Like a Guido.
Like a
Yeah, I
Goedo,
was thinking
exactly.
a way of getting Shodai and Goedo mixed in there. I was coming up with Shoedo or
Well,
Godai.
it's like in football, like the Hall of Fame grows by
Odai
a
seems
couple.
a little aggressive, Mac.
No, Godai. No,
Yeah,
Godai.
that's fairly aggressive, Mac.
Godai.
You're the one going there, not me.
But no, like
murder.
like in the
I'm going to hell for that one, aren't I?
yeah, probably. But like the NFL Hall of Fame, like half of it is like, linemen that you've never heard of, right? So like, there's you don't have to like set the world on fire to be like somebody that's worth enshrining like that. And Shodai, like he was volatile like right when he started getting Ozeki, but since then this would be his 4th Kachikoshi in a row of showing up every day. Yeah, they're not like blowing anyone away, but a Kachikoshi at the top of the Bansuke, yeah, big achievement.
I'm going to do a
Definitely.
Twitter poll. Based on his career so far, does Shodai belong in the Sumo Hall of Fame? We're gonna see how that turns
It's
out.
going to be 100% dependent on how many people you would put in the Hall of Fame, I guess. Like
We'll just
I'm
make
just
it
saying.
open-ended, see what people think.
Oh.
okay.
I'm gonna put that Twitter poll out there.
For the
Hopefully-
record, his name will be literally etched in stone at the Yokozuna Shrine where they have the Ozeki stone. Like
The Ozeki
literally,
stone.
his name will be
That's true.
written in the rock in like the annals of sumo history. So like that's kind of the same thing in
Be
my mind.
warned.
But it is kind of tucked away.
It's not as
It-
big
it
as the
is.
Yokozuna stone, obviously. But
I don't know. What YDC West might need to convene and see if we can block that from happening. All right. What about Meisei and Ichinojo? One is Ichinojo 3 and 5. Meisei is 4 and 4. They both seem like they're gonna probably chug along, get a final day 8 and 7 to maintain their rank. That sound about right to you guys?
Yeah.
All
most
right.
likely.
And Kiribayama just doing Mac dirty with a 2 and 6 record.
It's okay. It's okay. It happens.
By far the worst pick so far in our fantasy league.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry,
it
buddy.
happens. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. The only time he went out like a punk was against Takakesha. And I mean, how many of us could actually stand up to a roundhouse slap from a T-Rex like that? Really?
I'll say
It's
I
okay.
can.
For what reference? What are you referencing here?
I just feel like I'm that good.
Ah,
All right, you're
And
saying
you
you could probably
we
take
will-
one from a T-Rex?
that's
And
what
we
I'm
will
wondering.
never find out otherwise. So as far as we know, I am correct.
I'm saying I'm positive that the T-Rex could take one of mine, but I might be able to take one from a T-Rex. Got those little baby arms.
No.
All right, let's talk about some controversial Gyojiing and Shimpanning
Oh
in
Lord.
the tournament so far. The first and probably most egregious one would be on day 2, Hoshuryu versus Tamawashi. No Mono-e called in this match. What happened? Tamawashi drove Hoshuryu to the Tawara, but then my dog saw somebody outside and barked very loudly. And then after that, Hoshuryu grabbed Tamawashi's belt, and it looked like he was about to go. He was going for an Uchari win, which basically pick up the guy in front of you, spin around, have them touch down first. And on replay, looked like Tamawashi might have hit first, but at the very least, they hit right at the same time. They both had like one foot still in the dohyo, or their foot came off the dohyo at the same time, it looked like. So it was a very odd choice to not see any Mono-e called, at least to discuss it. So Fleric, is there any chance that this could be the Shimpan having a grudge against Hoshuryu because of who his uncle is, that being disgraced Yokozuna Asashoryu?
There you go. Do we know which Shimpan it was? Which Gyoji?
I mean, none of them called it. So
no.
Oh, we
nobody
talked about
called
the
it.
ringside Shimpan. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. No, there's no way.
that is the correct answer. So everybody on the internet saying otherwise, shut up.
Like, yeah, granted, it might have been
Oh,
one of those things
man.
where it's really close. Like, but like Tamawashi was dominating the end. Like, he was throwing them out. Like, I guess like maybe Hosho was doing kind of a belt throw a little bit, and like we've seen sometimes they take that into effect. That was just a desperation move. Like, he lost that match. in my
I
mind.
would disagree. I think it's one of those situations where he was pulling a legitimately defensive technique, and it's one where I don't think it's, in my opinion, I don't think you can say one guy or the other should get any advantage for being the aggressor in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's
I'm
some
not gonna-
precedent though.
I'm not going to die on the hill over this one, but like, I thought Tamawashi hit first so I thought worst case scenario, they should do it again.
Yeah.
I probably would have called it for Hoshuryu if I was in the video booth with the multiple angles and replays available to me, that kind of a deal. But yeah, a bummer. I think they got this one wrong.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like I like at some point you gotta like the rules are the first one who touches down. You know, that should be like the law of the land when it's very clear.
It should be
But-
hard to break that as your number one factor.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah. But I've just seen so much precedent going against that. Like I just don't get worked up about this. But that would be my dream, or at least like you agree. I'm 100% with you, Jake. Like a redo would be my fan experience. What I would love to see.
Yeah, whether you think Tamawashi or Hoshuryu won that match, one side or the other, I think we can all agree a Mono-E should have been called. Two guys
Absolutely.
touched outside the dojo at the exact same time. So I think we're all in agreement. A Mono-E should have at least been called, but we didn't even get the opportunity for them to look at the replay, because if there's no Mono-E, nobody takes a look at the replay.
It's that what VAM video aided Mono-E for all
Vam.
kind of close decisions at the edge.
Yeah, you gotta get the guy in the back buzzing into the ref, letting him know, hey, there's a challenge on the play. Let's
Yeah.
take a look at this.
Drawing
You know
some
what I think
lines.
they should do? I think just for dramatic television, instead of having like somebody like call into an earpiece, I think they should have someone like run with like sheets of paper down to the ring or something from the booth physically.
That or throw a
It's a
flag,
mistake.
like
throw a
like,
flag into the ring and just be like, nope, challenge.
Yeah, or like, the stupid way that people trade stocks and like manage our retirement funds by just like throwing paper at each other in New York. Like that kind of that's the standard I want in my sumo judging.
What are the odds that we could get all the Rikishi in like motion capture suits, and then just so we can, and then line the dohyo and the Tawara, so we can kind of go to the computer analysis, get a full 3D model of what happened in the match, and then figure out who won, who lost.
Too much time would go by.
I think it would be a whole lot more likely if we get these like bungee cords and suspend them,
Okay, yeah, let's
in
revisit
the
the
air.
cage issue.
because then you can easily put like a bigger suit to have all that stuff.
I feel like I've said this before, but before we can drag sumo into the 21st century, we have to drag sumo into the 20th century. Replay wise, technology wise, yeah. And I'm kidding. Obviously, they have video replay and stuff, but like,
I think they had video replay before the NFL did.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
it was
so,
back
too.
in like what, the 60s, 70s, maybe
Something like that,
A
yeah.
long time ago, for sure.
Mhm.
All right, the second controversial decision. I know Jake has a lot more thoughts on this one. The Shodai versus Takanosho matches on day 6. So the first match, very close, resulted in a Tori Naoshi. Then the second match, also very close, with Takanosho pushing Shodai as Shodai was throwing Takanosho out. Takanosho touched the clay first, but was declared the winner. So Jake, was the right call made in that second match? Should there have been a second Mono-E?
I don't necessarily think so, because I agree with the final call. This is one I was thinking about that meme where like, it's like as you get smarter, like you start out with like nobody knows how the dead body rule works. And then as you know more, you kind of go up and you're like, oh, it works this way. And there's all these corollaries and details and stuff. But then as you continue to get more experience, it's like nobody understands the dead body rule.
No, nobody does.
So
I feel like that's where I'm at right now. There was a while like I got super angry about anything wrong, but now I'm just like, yeah,
nobody
whatever.
understands the
Yeah.
dead body rule.
Nope.
There's
But-
all over the place.
But basically, as we understand it, I think that was a pretty clear one. Shodai was airborne. He was getting pushed out. And yes, Takanosho touched first, but I feel like Shodai had lost by then. And now that I'm done with my point, yes, we can transfer our attention over to Baby Riley, who does not
Yeah.
look super jazzed to be on the show.
No.
She was banging on the door as her mother was being very irresponsible, so I had to let her in here to interrupt the episode. And so yeah,
Mothers.
she doesn't seem to know what to do. So mother, please take the baby away. As
No, wait,
adorable as she
Riley.
is. I love you, Riley.
Riley, what are your thoughts on the dead body rule?
She thinks she
Silence,
wants
wise.
her mommy. Yes.
She does not
Silence.
want to
Yes,
say
very
anything
good, very
controversial and
good.
get caught on tape.
Yeah.
You are so wise.
All right.
Just gonna run for chairman eventually.
To answer your question, yes, I think the right call was made in the second match of Takakesha Shodai. Can I just say, though, in that first match, Shodai had spectacular foot discipline.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That
The
first
one
match, his foot was
replay-
like going down. It's like there's no way he's gonna stop this, and like millimeters before his heel touches the ground outside the dohyo.
Yeah,
What-
they
it
had
was
the
so
camera
cool.
angle perfectly like right at dohyo level, so you can see the heel coming down,
Mhm.
lift up, and then I think it did it a second time, coming down,
Yep.
coming down,
Yep.
lift up.
Yep. Oh, he did it
Oh,
again.
It was
not.
beautiful.
It was not like a couple years ago. There was like that infamous Tochinoshin heel, maybe
Mm.
touched, maybe didn't.
Yeah.
This one, it was. I swear to God, somehow even closer, but you could tell that it did not touch
Yep, it
for
didn't
certain.
hit.
And that it was just a really cool shot to see.
You can tell that guy does calf raises for sure.
Yes. Discipline. Nothing but discipline.
All right, and the final. I don't know that it's really a controversial decision. I just wanted to talk about it. But the Ichinojo hair pull versus Takakesha. What's everybody's thoughts on that? For me, it was clear cut. Yeah, he grabbed his hair and pulled it. I don't know how you can get around it. I know we've had some controversial ones where we weren't all on the same page, but did anybody have a differing opinion on that?
I don't think it affected the match. I'll say that much.
And that's my big take on this one. I get it. It's illegal. You can't pull the hair, and it's clear as day. Ichinojo got all up in there. But they didn't call the match right away, and it didn't have any bearing as to how the match turned out. The Shinpan let it go. Takakesha, at least in my opinion, clearly lost on that one, handily defeated with this powerful lean that Ichinojo
hit out first.
Anyway,
One layer at a time, Ryan.
Anyway, the hair pull didn't have any effect on the match until the very end. In terms of actual performance, I think Ichinojo got that, and I think they did him dirty for it. Yes, he pulled the hair. Yet, no, you can't do that, but it didn't affect the match.
I feel like I'm just playing Ryan today because I'm going to bring up football again. But like it's something I've seen more often in the last couple of years in the NFL is if there's like a fumble or like, you know, maybe something's a catch or not. A lot of the times they'll kind of just like, I'm going to hold off on blowing the whistle because if you blow the whistle or if you call the match, it's done. There's nothing you can do about it. If you saw something wrong, too bad. You called it. It's done. You blew the whistle. Match over. My thoughts are, I bet they were going to wait to see the outcome and then talk about it afterwards. And they plan to talk about it afterwards. That's my best guess.
Okay.
Because it was clearly a DQable hair pull, in my opinion. I think that he was as in there as I've ever seen anybody. Yeah, the match didn't end right then, but they wanted to see the conclusion before they discussed the rule set.
So my understanding is the Gyoji cannot call a match due to a hair pull. That is strictly up to the Shinpan, and the Shinpan cannot stop a match mid-match. So the Gyoji has to make the decision, and then the Shinpan that saw the hair pull raises the call for the Mono-E. That is my understanding of how that works. I don't think a Gyoji could say, you win due to hair pull.
Not counting Matas.
Yeah, for one, I had some stupid stuff going on. I lost power this morning when I was supposed to be doing my preparation and stuff. So I was kind of frazzled and behind. But the last thing I was doing before we started recording was frantically hurrying through Twitter to see if I could get some more opinions on this. And what I saw was at least a couple people have mentioned that they have stopped matches for it before. I can't confirm. I've just people have mentioned it. And also somebody mentioned that like you can definitely see that the ref was not watching up there. He was not watching. Generally, the Gyoji will be staring at the feet because, like, 99.9% of the time, the match is decided by what happens on the ground, right?
Right.
So it's very possible the Gyoji didn't even see it. But even if he did, I don't know. It may be the case that they can stop the match, or somebody at least can stop the match. But yeah, that's something that we'll have to do some more research on because I don't remember cases, but some other people have.
All right.
That would make a lot of sense. I will say that I'm happy it happened. Kind of similar to the first one of these two touches out should be the loser. I like the law of the land being the rule. you touch the hair, you pull, you should lose.
Yep.
So we can like split hairs about when it should be called, but
That
Split hairs. I had this guy.
hey,
wasn't even on purpose.
that wasn't on purpose. No,
Oh,
I am just that good.
We
What
can
I
split
say?
hairs, but not with our hands.
but not with
Yeah.
our hands.
But not with the hands. But yeah, so I guess I'm very happy with the outcome. And I guess maybe talking about the way it went down, it was kind of weird. So, but other than that, I think it was the correct call.
No, and to the point that I said earlier that Ichinojo technically stepped out first. No, Takakesha was clearly a dead body in that. At that
I
point,
knew
so-
you. I was like, no, you're doing this to be a contrarian.
I just
but
stir the
nobody
pot.
knows.
It's fun.
nobody knows the dead body rule. We've given up on the dead body rule.
We've got a good stew of a basho cooking. We just got to continue stirring the pot.
Yeah, we don't need that much salt in it. Yeah, we're good.
More pepper.
All right. Let's just talk about anybody else that we want to make note of before we move on to other things. Fleric, is there anybody else that you want to mention? Is there anybody that we must feast our eyes on because they are a shark or a seal or something?
Shark or a seal.
Or whatever your metaphor is. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are we
Special
going for
call
here?
call out to the Don the Spot that is Aoyama Kichiyokuzuna. But that's all. He's looking good still.
3-5, lost 5 in a row for Mr. Aoyama.
But did you see his bod?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oof.
All right. I've got a few guys, and they're all guys that are disappointing me this tournament. Takayama 2-6 at Maegashira 13, just destroying my narrative that he was going to climb all the way up back into the joy with a consecutive Kachikoshis before falling back down to Juryo with consecutive Makikoshis. He's just going straight back down to Juryo at this point if he
rate, yeah.
can't turn it around. And he looks very frustrated. There's that match where he did like the belly flop. I think it was
Oh, man.
yesterday or
Mm.
2 days ago.
Bounced.
And then just
with
smacked
against
the
Chiyomaru, against another guy with a notoriously
Mhm.
round belly, just flop.
and he just slapped the floor in frustration. So Yutakayama's clearly not very happy with Yutakayama right now either. Koto Nowaka, a guy that was up in the Joy ranks, had been doing pretty well, and then falls back down this tournament. He's only 3-5, so kind of got to wonder how healed is his knee. And then Wakataka Kage being 2-6. I mean, we've seen him at this rank before, and this is pretty much his worst performance that he's had at this rank. So pretty disappointed with those 3 guys right now.
I'm going to turn it around a little bit to a couple guys that I've actually been semi-impressed or at least happy watching them again. One of those is Toby Zaru. He's 5-3, pulling out a plethora of tricks for his Kimarite. He's starting to earn back my favor after his bout with Hakuho. That one, he severely lost points in my eyes, but he's starting to climb his way back up there. So keep going, Toby Zaru.
His foot
And-
sweep on day 8. Oh,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
on
Against
Tamawashi, that was
Tamawashi, yeah.
gorgeous.
That was good.
Yes. And then the other one, honestly, Takanosho. I love. He's 5-3 as well. I'm loving his matches as much as I keep thinking like, okay, is he going to keep going? Is he going to fall? What's happening? He just keeps on keeping on. Like, all right, you do you, man. You do you.
I wouldn't want to get out of this first segment without mentioning Shohozan. He's not long for this career, that's for sure. But he's not winning much, but he's always must see TV. You know, he's kind of a little guy. He's never afraid to take a punch because he's so excited about throwing them. And especially his day 7 match against Chinokuni. He lost, but they were just absolutely beating the piss out of each other. It's crazy. And I wanted to bring up that match because it sounds, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't either of the wrestlers, but you can hear very clearly on the audio right when the match is ending, somewhere in the arena, someone goes, ah, like right at the edge of at the end of the match. So I'm like, oh no, Shohozan, he's afraid of heights. He doesn't want to fall off the dohyo. Oh man. But no, yeah, there's been some good matches. I also was going to bring up the belly flop if you didn't, because I feel bad for you, Takayama, but that was classic slapstick right there. He bounced. He bounced when he hit the ground. Oh man.
Let's take a look at what is happening Juryo and below so far this basho. So if you're in Juryo and your name ends in Oho, pretty good odds that you're having a good tournament. So Oho, whose name starts and ends with Oho, is 8-0, leading the tournament.
Bravo.
Yeah. He's the grandson of Taiho, So this is by far his best performance that we've seen from him in Juryo. He's been looking real great. Hopefully he can keep that up. And then also Koto Shoho. He has started 7-1, finally starting to look more like the guy that made it up to the Joy in Makuuchi. Probably around this time last year was when he was up there. So he finally might have his mojo back, it would appear. And the other Rikishi whose name ends in Oho in Juryo is Daishoho, 3-5. So it's not you can't necessarily say if your name ends in ho-ho, you're doing good, but the odds are pretty good.
You're saying maybe we should do a little bit more research than just looking at name patterns?
Maybe.
Or everyone should just change their name.
Yeah.
Wakamoto Haru might be finally joining his brother Wakataka Kage in the top division. He's at 5-3 right now at Juryo 1. So Kachikoshi from Juryo 1 West is pretty good odds of getting into the top division finally. That'd be cool.
Yep, and both Oho and Koto Shoho, they are ranked Juryo 7 and Juryo 6. So 11 wins could get both of them in promotion territory. I think 12 wins for either of them should see them getting up to Makuuchi, or at least have a record deserving of going to Makuuchi. We'll have to see how it plays out with how many people look like they should drop and go up and kind of see. But if they can reach that 11 to 12 win spot, I think they both have very good chances of being at Makuuchi next Basho.
Which would be cool because I think we mentioned it before. Did we have like any top division debuts this year?
Two.
It was only 2. Is that
Midori Fuji and Ichi Yamamoto both are kicking it in Juryo right now.
Right. So not the most solid year for new faces in the big show. So that would be pretty cool to get some fresh guys in January.
Yep. And we've got some guys at the top of Juryo: Wakamoto Haru, Kaisho, Bushozan, Nishiki Fuji. All of them are in the top 4 Juryo ranks. None of them have been to Makuuchi before. So those are all guys that might make the leap next year. Somebody that is decidedly not having a good tournament is Hoku Sejo. Everybody was hyped for him. He looked just straight up bad on day 1 in his loss. He got pushed out of the dojo, landed badly on his knee, and has been out since day 2. So he is going to be falling back down into Makushita, unfortunately. We have Ryuden, who is back from his 3 Basho suspension. He is 3-0 in his first Basho back. He's Makushita 47, and Tomokaze is making his way back up after his knee exploded. He is 4-0 in Makushita.
Sorry, I wrote this yesterday. Ryuden won on day 8 as well. He's now 4-0.
Okay, so could have a Ryuden Tomokaze matchup coming up soon to decide
cool.
the Makushita Yusho.
Yeah, that would be awesome, especially if they get all the way up to 7 wins. That could put them right at the top of Makushita. So we're still on the schedule roughly of seeing both of those guys like mid to late 22.
Mm-hmm.
If they're back in form and if they continue doing well, we'll probably see them in like the second half of 2022.
Yep. And then a clarification we had discussed on the preview episode that I thought somebody was making their debut in Makushita this Basho, but when we looked at the Bansuke, we couldn't see anything. The Bansuke has since been updated, and so it is confirmed. Makushita Tsukedashi for Oshoma making his Grand Sumo debut at Makushita 15 is where they slotted him in at, and he is currently 2-2.
Not bad.
Yeah, I think it was less a issue with the Bansuke itself. And more
the website.
Yeah, Sumo DB is like almost entirely automated. So when weird stuff happens like that, I'm sure that it breaks the algorithm a little bit.
Yep. And there are also 2 Sandanme Tsukidashi as well. So Keen Bozan is 4-0 and Suguro is 3-1. So a few people skipping a few divisions in their sumo debut this Basho. All right, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we are going to fly through the GS belts and our prediction series update, and then we'll have the lightning round and then our very special Pokemon quiz.
Of course.
If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the GSB belt. So this is the second iteration of the Grand Sumo Breakdown Championship belt. We started it over in July this year. The very first match of the July tournament decided our inaugural second iteration champion. We'll work on the phrasing. That doesn't really flow very well.
Words.
But in the July and September tournaments, the belt made it all the way up to Fuji Seiyun, who went 21-0 in his first 3 tournaments. Excellent prospect there. So Fuji Seiyun brought the belt all the way up to Makushita 17 to start out the Kyushu Basho here. There have been 4 matches for the GSB belt, and every single time it has changed hands.
Oh.
So it is... There's no pattern. There's nothing worth saying, really. It's silly. Kamito beat Fuji Seiyun. Deiwa Noryu beat Kamito. Mine Yaiba, that is a mouthful, beat Deiwa Noryu. And actually, now it is on Roga.
So, hey, Roga. I actually know that name.
Yeah, exactly. Roga, who came into, let's see, he did not have a day 8 match, so I don't have to look silly and update that on the fly. But he is currently 4-0 at Makushita 13. We know that he's somebody that has had a lot of hype behind him and potentially could get into Juryo at any point here. So yeah, he's definitely got the talent to hang on to that for a little while. I'll be excited to see where it goes, but yeah, it's absolute chaos. Normally we get somebody who's like gonna at least string a couple wins together, right? And it stays in one spot for a minute, but not this time. So we'll see if Roga can hang on to it till the end of the tournament.
All right, and we'll take a quick look at where our prediction series stands. And we've got a fun race up at the top as Jake and Fleric, they had Takakesha and Teruno Fuji respectively, and they are both 8-0. Each one of them has beaten Max champ Kiribayama, so they each got a bonus point for that. And then each of them has a chump with 6 losses, so they are tied with 15 points. I am 2 points behind. I have Abi with 7 wins, and then Mac with Kiribayama as his champ is trailing 6 points behind the leader, 4 points behind third place. So it looks like Mac is most likely gonna have to be right in the movie scene of the winner's choice.
Oh well.
Yeah, the winner's kind of up in the air, but Mac, I think you got this one locked down for.
And I'm fairly positive I've got. I will once again be Mac's person to play off of in the scene, as I will most likely finish
the
third.
sumo gods have decreed it. Ryan,
That's exactly what happened last year, isn't it?
It is.
Yes,
I won,
it is.
Mac lost, and Ryan had to help him.
Yep.
We'll see if it happens again.
I was about to say, Fleric with Teruno Fuji, though, leading the way. It's going to be close.
Yeah, Teruno Fuji's pretty good at sumo.
And we'll
Who
see
thought?
what movie scene Fleric
I was about to
chooses
say,
for you. That
some strange movie scene I know is coming.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll
So think
It's
about
going to be
that.
from an obscure anime movie from the 70s or something.
Oh dear, I have to watch another anime movie.
there we go.
All right, let's go through the lightning round. Let's try to keep it a little more lightning than usual. We've gone over on this episode. 1-word answers only. Mac, who has impressed you the most so far?
Takayumi.
Jake,
Takakesha.
Fleric,
Ura,
Ryan, Takakesha. Fleric, who has disappointed you the most so far?
Kiribayama,
Jake,
Kiribayama.
Ryan, Kiribayama, Mac.
Shoho's on.
All right. Favorite match of the Basho so far?
Keep it moving. Come on.
Ryan,
Come on.
Teruno Fuji versus Daisho, day 2.
Teruno Fuji versus Daisho, day 2.
Chino Fuji versus Shoho's on day 7. Too fast. Go.
We had an order.
I forgot the order. Teruno
I don't know it.
Fuji Daisho, day
It's
2.
too late. Move on.
All right. Most exciting potential matchup. Jake.
Takakesha, Teruno Fuji, day 16. Or like you know what they call it, day 16 because playoff. Yes, that's one.
Fleric.
Same.
Mac.
Abi versus anybody N3.
Ryan. Day 16 one. That one. All right. Who's going to win it? Fleric. Who's going to win?
Teruno Fuji.
Jake.
Teruno Fuji.
Mac.
Teruno Fuji.
Takakesha. Who do you want to win? Jake,
Takakesha,
Mac,
Toby Fuji.
Fleric,
Takakesha.
Takakesha. All right, Pokemon quiz. All right,
were you calling on Takakesha for his answer, Ryan?
we'll get it.
Okay.
Daylight
get
savings time. There's a bit of a delay.
You're right. Okay, good point.
Get it in a week.
Okay, now that I'm
All right.
sweating, let's talk about Pokemon.
That was fun.
We should do
we
that
might have
every
to do
time
that
and
in the
just have
future.
Oh God.
do that every time, but just have more questions to keep the energy
Yeah.
going.
Yes.
All right, Pokemon quiz. So we're doing a Pokemon quiz because Pokemon is getting involved with Grand Sumo for this Basho and the Hatsu Basho. If you're watching live, you've seen Kensho banners going around the dojo with Pokemon on it. Pikachu, Makuhita. They've said that they were going to do Kesho Mawashi. I haven't seen any Pokemon Kesho Mawashi, but they are definitely doing the Kensho banner. So I figured now is as good a time as any to have a Pokemon quiz because I absolutely adore Pokemon, and the other three are at least aware that it exists. All right.
I've heard of all 151 of them.
Yes.
Shut up.
And because of that, I have kept this mostly Gen 1 for Jake. All right.
Oh,
Which
let's go.
The first nice thing you've ever done for me.
Which Pokemon appears in the most mainline Pokemon games? So it's not like Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Coliseum, or anything like that. Just like what you think of a Pokemon game, those games. Which Pokemon appears in the most?
How are we doing this? Are we like buzzing in for an
Just
answer?
throw out an answer.
Bulbasaur.
No.
Pikachu.
Appears.
Pikachu is in the top 10, but he has not appeared in the most games.
Oh.
Yeah. Zubat.
Zubat is number 4. Pikachu is number 6
Oh.
in the top 10.
How about you, Ryan?
I know the answer.
Oh, okay.
Is it a Gen 1 Pokemon?
It is. All the top 10 are Gen 1 Pokemon.
Oh,
What's another one? Maybe.
so is it
Geodude?
any of the starting 3? Is it Charmander
It-
or
It
Squirtle?
is none of the starting 3.
Interesting.
Rat-tat.
So I will
Is it
give-
like the number of times in routes? Is that where you kind of counting?
No, so just do they appear in a mainline game, of which there have been 32.
Oh.
32
There is
Pokemon
one that has
games?
been in
Wow.
every single one, and its evolutions. All right,
And
I'm
Gen 1.
multiple.
yeah, it's Gen 1. So I'll
Ditto.
start reading. Ditto is number 5. So we have 4, 5, and 6 on the list.
Bellsprout.
No. Here, so I'm gonna start reading backwards, and then once I get to 1, we'll see if you can maybe figure it out. So number 10, Caterpie and its evolutions. Snorlax is number 9. Dratini and its evolutions. Eevee and 3 of its evolutions.
Yeah.
There's a lot more now, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magnemite is number 3. So Magnemite and Magneton. Psyduck is number 2. So Psyduck and Golduck.
I
Number
feel like I
1.
had less of an
Magikarp.
idea after you've read this.
Magikarp is correct.
Wow.
Yeah!
Good call.
Magikarp has
Good
been
call.
in every single mainline game.
It's got to be a joke by now, right?
I mean, Magikarp's a joke Pokemon, so
and
yeah.
that's why. That's why I'm like, wait, it's got to be Magikarp then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's stupid. I love it.
All right. So when you first turned on Pokemon Red or Pokemon Blue, when you were an 8, 9-year-old kid, there was a cutscene that played at the very beginning. Who were the 2 Pokemon that are fighting in the Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue cutscene?
Is it
Gengar
Caterpie?
and Jigglypuff.
Gengar is right. So actually, it might be different based on the version. Now that you think, because now that I think
Yeah.
about it, Gengar versus Jigglypuff, I have a memory of that. I'll do some double checking. So I think Mac is right, but there is another available answer.
I was
know
going to say
Gengar for
Caterpie.
sure.
It
Or
is
Weedle.
not Caterpie.
I have
So-
no idea. I have very little experience with the games themselves.
I
So-
played Blue and Red a lot.
So it is Gengar versus Nidorino is the other
Oh,
one.
Nidorino. Dang it.
All right. So yeah, I don't have enough time to do the research to figure out what game it was.
That's
Gengar
fine. I
versus
don't
Yeah,
have
Mac
the
can
time
get
to
that one.
listen to you.
I think
Yeah.
it was yellow.
Maybe. All right. So we're going to do things a little bit different this time. Starting with Jake, we're going to take turns naming
Who's our
starter
favorite?
Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, I'm
and this
screwed on this one because
This
there
is
are
all
only 3.
generations. But yeah,
Alright.
we'll go Jake, Mac, Fleric, and we'll just, if you can't think of one, you're eliminated. We'll just see how far we can go.
All right, I'm just gonna throw out Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and
Nope.
Charmander, and then
Yes.
surrender.
All right,
because that's
Jake's
literally
out.
all I can name.
Okay. So all the first 3?
All the first,
First
three
three
are
are
out.
out. Yep, and
War
so is
Turtle.
Jake.
No, just the starter, not
Just the
evolutions
starter.
of the starters.
Oh, what was it? Torchic.
All right. Mac,
Hiplup.
Fleric.
I'm gonna lose this one pretty fast. So I thought I could do evolutions. Oh, what's that other one? Chikorito?
Chikorita.
Chikorita.
Mudkip.
Oh.
All right. Fleric.
That monkey fire one. Okay, I concede.
You were thinking of Chimchar.
Chimchar.
Mac, how far can you go?
Totodile.
Totodile. That's the one.
Turtwig. Let's see.
Are
No,
you naming
Pikachu was a
Pokemon or like
starter in
characters from our
yellow.
D&D?
Technically, yeah. Good call. Good pull.
I'm
In order-
blanking
in
on that. He got me.
That's all right. In order to kind of keep this moving along, we'll stop it there. I think Cyndaquil is the main one that you guys
Cyndaquil.
missed.
That's
The
like the
fire
little
from
fire
Gen
one,
2.
yes.
Good call.
All right. The next one is also going to be taking a turn with the answer. We're going to do Jake, Mac, Fleric. Sing the Pokemon theme song. One word at a time. Starting with Jake.
I.
Want.
All right. Apparently, we're going Jake, Fleric, Mac.
Two.
I'm sorry.
B.
The
Very.
Best.
like
No.
1.
ever.
Was.
Come on, Jake.
No. I'm going to know it as soon as you say it. But Ryan, I call you in as my second for this one.
2.
Catch.
Them.
Is.
My.
Real.
Test?
Yes.
Pause? Okay, test.
To.
Train.
Them.
Is.
My.
Cause. I got both of them.
It's cause.
No, I'm pretty
right.
sure it's just aggressively yelled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will.
What was Fleric's word?
I just yelled out cause. I have
No,
I have
I thought you
already
said
forgotten
I.
where we're at.
I thought
Yeah,
you
I
said
thought
Fleric-
I was
I'm
cause,
gonna-
and then I didn't hear what happened after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fleric said, we're going to say Fleric said I. Mac said will.
Yeah, and I'm out. Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna tap out on this one. Mac gets the win.
All right, Mac.
Yay!
Sing the song.
I will travel across the
Travel,
land,
okay.
searching far and wide. And you got me. You got the rest.
All right.
Wow.
Wow.
If I wasn't stuck with the first word of every stupid line, I probably would have done a lot better there.
You guys got. I honestly thought you guys were going to get through that, but that's okay.
Now,
Oh, I
the
knew the
Pokemon
words.
rest
rap-
of it, but I wasn't gonna sing.
Yeah. Like I knew the words, but I'm ready to be done. Let's go.
Yeah,
I was about to
exactly.
say the listeners have suffered enough.
Next one, same game, but it's the poker rap.
Oh,
More turtle.
gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Yeah.
No, that's it.
Good
That's
times.
the Pokemon quiz.
Oh, thank Christ. Okay.
So
There
that's
you go.
gonna wrap up the episode for all the people that didn't turn this off already. We
And
will
now
be
we're gonna
back.
do the Johto theme song.
Oh, I don't know.
Nope.
Oh, you don't know that one? Oh,
I don't. I maybe watched a little bit of it, but no.
Like do Pokemon Johto, and they say it like 10 times.
Oh, that version? Oh,
I
don't
now
like
Yeah.
know the Pokemon Johto
No,
theme.
Dude, that song is a fucking banger. It's good. I highly recommend it.
All right, we've already gone far too long for a Midway episode podcast. So
was I supposed to still be recording?
we hope you enjoyed the Midway Kyushu review shoe. We will be back for the complete Kyushu review shoe in about a week's time. So keep an eye out for that. Mac and Jake, tell everybody the work you have been putting in ahead of the Vegas 2021 tournament we are going to be going to.
Yeah, so for my wife, the last person still listening here, check out the North American Sumo Championships are on Saturday, December 11th in Las Vegas. We've already interviewed a handful of people, but there will be more interviews
videos
coming out. Yep. So just keep an eye out wherever you listen to us. You can find those as well. We're just going to be covering the stories of what we got coming in from all the major clubs. Mac, who have we talked to so far?
We've talked to Dark Circle Sumo. We've talked to Florida Sumo. More specifically, we talked to Karinga. We've talked to Eros. We've talked to newcomer Alex Hearn, Caleb Bacchus. We've got a great plethora of people.
Yep. We're trying to get as many different clubs as possible to figure out all the storylines going in. And Grand Sumo Breakdown will be doing ringside commentary. So if you actually are a fan, you better be traveling to Vegas for us.
We will know. We will know.
You'll get
All right.
extra Patreon compliments, maybe. We'll see. That's the only
So-
currency we can provide.
Yes.
Keep an eye out for all of those interviews. But until then, we will see you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time.
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.